we spent $1,307. Nope. Doing great, Barney. Doing great. Hello, welcome back to another tiny house video. I hope you guys are having an awesome day so far. Happy Friday if you're watching this on the day that it comes out. Bye, Barney. Oh, she was being so cute sitting with me. I was gonna be like, Barney's doing my video today, but there she goes. I'm actually really excited about this video because I love numbers, such a math person. I love budgeting things, numbers. I'm here for them. So if anyone was curious, like honestly I was, how much we ended up spending on our tiny house, the right video for you. People are constantly asking how much we spent on our tiny house, and I don't make up a number, but I just kind of guesstimate in the moment, and I've been saying around a certain number, which thankfully I was pretty darn accurate too. But I wanted to sit down, go through all the math, look up all the receipts, see what we've been spending our money on, what everything added up to, and let you guys know so that when you're going out looking for a tiny house, you have some sort of reference. And if you guys have been following along our tiny house saga, you will know that in our opinion, when our tiny house arrived to us, it was not the perfect state that it could have been. With that in mind, grain of salt, what I mentioned the builders, if you are looking to buy from them, maybe watch some of our other videos. Also to see, we have a state of delivery video for how our tiny house was. Also thought this would be a good video to touch on what we've been able to work out with the builder, because I know a lot of people have asked, they've been wondering like, were you able to get anything back, what have you? So that is also in this video. And completely off topic, but I can see myself in the little side viewer here, and if I was watching this video, it would drive me bonkers the whole time wondering what the shirt said. So all you can see is "it takes," but it says "it takes a forest." I love the shirt, super comfy. Got it from 10 Tree. I don't even know if they still have the shirt anymore, but I just figured in case you guys are only seeing "it takes" the entire time and you're like, what does it say? That's what it says. That's what it says. Back on the tiny house subject. We bought our tiny house from a company in San Diego called Tiny Home Investing. We found them on tiny house listings. After reaching out to them, we found out that they sell this base model tiny house. If you want, you can change things. They add everything up and then you have your new total amount. So, breaking everything down a little bit, base price, $54,000 for a technically 1 bedroom, 2 loft, 28 by 8 tiny house on wheels. This tiny house automatically comes with 2 sliding barn doors, a kitchen sink with a below cabinet and countertop, so it's really only like 3 feet wide. It's a smaller bathroom than we have, with a stand-up shower, a very small sink slash vanity, and then the toilet. So all of that is included in the base price. Also with, which is so cute, unfortunately I haven't been able to use it yet because it's been so darn cold, comes with a hammock. So that's an external attachment, and then they also give us the physical hammock, and there is a planter box that we also have yet to install, which maybe we'll get around to that. That would be fun and cute. But everything we wanted to plant, we're just like, I don't know if we can handle it right now. That is everything that the tiny house came with. We then requested a laundry list of add-ons that included changing the downstairs bedroom to not be there and keep it fully open concept. We expanded the bathroom, making the second loft a little bit bigger. We made it our own. That ended up being $10,850. That includes installing all of the appliances, the vanity, bathtub, having extra cabinetry and extra countertop in the kitchen because of the appliances that we were having installed. They of course needed more cabinetry and countertop space. We had a laundry cabinet built, special dimmer lights installed, and then our outlets are also different with the C-type and USB type outlets on there as well, which I love. Lifesaver. Once the add-ons were added to the base price and taxes were included, it then brought the tiny house purchased from the builder to a total of $69,713. So just under $70,000 to the builder for our tiny house. And that does not include the price of the bathtub, appliances, things like that. I'm gonna dive into all of that in just a moment to add up for you. And the reason that it was not included was because these were all things that we requested to specifically be purchased and put into our tiny house. Anything that was extra that was not in their typical base tiny house, I needed to do the research myself, purchase the items myself and have them sent down to their warehouse. For the appliances, we ended up spending $5,107. This includes our induction cooktop, oven, Whirlpool washer and dryer combo, refrigerator, and Bosch dishwasher. We plan to do a video in the future that goes over all of our appliances, the pros and cons to them. If we were to do it all again, would we buy the same appliances? But we want to wait on that video specifically until we can actually use the darn oven, because right now we are on a 30 amp hookup with a 50 amp tiny house. So literally the only thing in the tiny that we can't use right now is the oven, which I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit sad about that. In the holiday, wintry, festive times, I like to do me some baking, but I've been attempting to do all of this with both an Instant Pot and an air fryer, and it's been really funny. Failed a lot, which means I've learned a lot again, but they could have turned out better, let's just say. And as I mentioned, with us needing to buy all of our own appliances to go in it, it was the same with the systems in the house as well. We knew that it wasn't gonna come with a hot water heater, anything like that, so we needed to purchase them after the fact once the tiny had been delivered, and then either install them ourselves or pay for installation. In this category that I am calling systems, we paid a total of $6,212 for everything that I'll mention here, which includes the hot water heater, which we did not install ourselves, which definitely helped with the dollar point there. We did not feel comfortable doing this ourselves, installing it, because you have to work with the propane and the gas. It's not something that we had done before, and Jared feels really comfortable with a lot of electrical type things and just a wide variety of DIY home improvement type things, but working with propane and hot water heater was just not something that had been done. It is a tankless hot water heater, and we have it mounted just out back outside of the tiny house, attached to the wall in like a little cabinet thing that we have there. We also purchased and installed a mini split heat pump system. That's going to be both basically our air conditioning and our heater. It also has a dry mode that dehumidifies the house. Works wonders. It will practically instantly take all condensation off the windows. We got the Mr. Cool system. It's funny because it calls it DIY, but it also tells you that you need to get an electrician to fully install it. So I'm like, okay, can we really call it DIY? But whatever, I digress. We have that going. It's been amazing since having it installed. We had just like a space heater before, and that would use so much power. This guy hardly uses any power. I had to have the electrician come out and install it, so there was a little bit of cost there. And then we also decided to get the line set covers for the line on the outside, which we actually just had arrived the other day, and it's getting installed very soon. The last system is a Lunos venting system. We have just purchased this. It has not arrived yet, nor have we installed it. So I'm not gonna dive too much into it yet. Now for the bathroom budget, we spent $2,182. The bathtub, the bathroom vanity, faucet for the vanity, the stopper for the vanity sink. I did not realize initially that I would need to purchase those little things. Shower glass wall, the faucet for also inside of the bathtub and the shower, medicine cabinet, toilet paper holder, and then the handle to the barn door to the bathroom. We also changed the handles that are on the vanity, but I did not include that in this budget because the main purpose for buying those handles was for in the kitchen, so I just had that cost absorbed. Speaking of kitchen, we spent $1,381 on things kitchen related. Includes the 2 extra cabinets that we bought that you can actually see. One of them above me. The handles that I mentioned before that you also can see. We bought a drawer for our kitchen cabinet ourselves after the fact. We have our Syncology sink, the faucet as well, and our 3 wooden shelves that we have hanging for spices, dishes, things of the sort, extra storage, and we got those 3 shelves off of Etsy. The other 2 kind of lingerers in my budget categories. One of them was the front door. The front door in total costs $1,728. That is including the actual door, which came pre-hung in its frame, and then the black handles. That is the one thing that makes me want to mention, and if I'm being honest, this is not even the door that I wanted to have on our tiny house. If I had had more time, I would have picked a different door. Ours is a double door that is basically glass the whole way on both sides. I had initially wanted to have a door where either the bottom third or the bottom half was wood, only allowing for glass to be on the top 2/3 or 1/2. I just really liked the looks of these other doors, but I could not find anything that was going to arrive within about a month and a half or so time frame that would have worked with our timing to have our tiny house built when we needed to have it built. I also learned when buying doors, there are a million different ways that a door can be made. I specifically wanted to have outswing doors. That way it would not encroach on anything inside of the tiny house. And when we have a little deck built out, I think that it will feel really natural just having the door swing open. And I picked a left-hand door swing out. So you can pick to have your handle on the left side, the right side, and then you're picking which way the door swings or opens. Just things I didn't think about, things I didn't know even needed to be thought about. And the last thing to mention is just this hanging desk that we have right here. Also bought from Etsy, totaled to $462, and I love this table. If I were to move everything out from underneath it, it could completely go flush against the wall. That can give us more space if we find ourselves in a situation where we'd like more space for whatever we're doing. The only thing that I would note about this table that I do feel is a little bit of a bummer, because I feel like we put a decent amount in the budget for both this hanging table and then our wooden hanging shelves, because we wanted to make sure that they were a pure wood. And our kitchen hanging shelves have not had an issue at all with this. They were bought from different companies, I should note. This beautiful piece of wood seems as though it has a surface stain that did not go very deep. I don't know if maybe it needed to be stained more times. I don't know. I really don't know. But basically, we have all these little marks where the cats are jumping up onto the table and constantly etching out little bits of it. It's a bummer. And it's a very soft wood is another thing that I would note. It seems really easy for them to get their claws into it and to make these marks. It's a bummer, but not the end of the world. I imagine that before we turn this place into an Airbnb, we will maybe just re-sand the surface and re-stain it, because we won't be having the cats in here. So it'll just give us an opportunity to give it a fresh life. But I do love me this table. All of that adds up to the grand total of $86,785 for our tiny house and everything that is physically attached to it, which I could see some people buying a tiny house, just having this completely done and presented to you as our tiny house was eventually built out by us, with the appliances all good to go, the hot water heater, the mini split, everything just already installed. That's why I included all of these specific dollar amounts in the budget. Like I said, it's things that are physically attached to the tiny house and will most likely stay attached to the tiny house if we were to ever sell it.
I'm not sure I understand.
That's okay, because you don't need to. As I mentioned, we did have a couple issues when we first got our tiny house that had to do with structural situations, electrical also, where things just weren't able to be properly checked before it was delivered to us. So we had some hiccups, some glitches. We reached out to the builder and we were able to come to an agreement where they basically reimbursed us for any fee or cost that we incurred when calling out a specialist to come and look at the electrical, upgrade the switches, redo some of the wiring. The tiny house outlet box came as a female plug inlet, but it needed to be the opposite. It needed to have the male end on it. That way it was an easy hookup with the typical type cord that you would buy for any RV to bring power to our tiny house. So having that replaced obviously incurred a cost, and we could not do that ourselves. We had a professional electrician come out and do that for us. Cost of that was covered by them. We have found that we need to redo a little bit of siding and that the roofing could use a little bit more work to it, so they are also reimbursing us, but we've already paid to have someone come out, and then for someone to, which we're in the process of scheduling, come out in the future to finish a couple more things, siding and roofing related. With all of that said, there are still a few things that we have in mind to do with the tiny house, but I feel like this was really the base and the bulk of everything that we really have accomplished, we have gotten done. The only other really big things are in time. We want to have stairs put in and built in with storage in it, and then we also want to replace our windows, because our windows are single pane windows. It's not cutting it for where we're living. And we aren't even in the coldest places of the world nor the United States. So I can't imagine if somebody ended up somewhere that was snowing or something. Our windows are not cutting it. We end up with a lot of condensation on them, with specifically like foundation built houses in California, which is where we are, and also the state of which where we bought our tiny house. You legally, and it's been this way for the past couple of decades, you have to have double pane windows. But the builder noted that those are foundation built standards and there is not a standard or law in place for RVs and tiny houses, and that they have to be 2 pane windows. But I would say you should definitely get 2 pane windows. We're gonna come out with a video that is like 10 things to ask your builder, and that's me. One of the things on the top of the list is, are they double pane? If not, let's make them double pane, because it makes a really big difference all around. I feel like I must note, because I really don't want to throw any shade on the tiny house company that built our tiny house, although we do feel like in the end, maybe ours is a glitch. Maybe they don't always end up this way, because the builder did say that they stay in contact with a lot of the people that buy their tiny houses, and they haven't heard of any issues like the ones of which we are explaining. So who knows? But because I have mentioned the name of the company, I would just say that if we were to buy our tiny house again, we would buy it from a different company. It is very possible that because they sell their tiny houses in San Diego, that they are expecting them to be in the warmer climate, in the drier climate, where maybe some things are an issue. So I know that I mentioned the name of our builder, but maybe don't look them up. It's just a basis to go off of. But that's the grand total. I am glad that I now know how much money we spent on our tiny house. And when looking at tiny houses, if we had gone with a different builder, if we'd gone with a different company, if we had bought one that was used, that is about what their prices are. That's about what they're selling them for. They even sell them for even more easily, depending on the size that you're getting. But I was guesstimating before, whenever people would ask how much we spent, I'd say about $85,000 just off the top of my head. So I'm glad that I was on point at least with that. If you guys have any questions about anything in the purchase process, the things that we picked to have in our tiny house, feel free to ask down below. We will have everything linked also that we are able to link, that I mentioned that we purchased and that we've utilized in this tiny house. If you want to see everything that we did, literally before and after, I do have a video that I'll link in this one that will show you our tiny house, when we got it, what it looked like, almost empty for the most part, and then what we did installing things. Thank you guys for stopping in to watch my video. I really appreciate it. If you aren't subscribed to me yet, please do subscribe. I would love it, especially if you enjoyed this video. Give it a like. We're coming out with videos on Tuesdays and Fridays, so I can't wait to see you guys then with more content. Until then, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.